Hello and welcome back to the next One Piece review and discussion. I am very excited to talk about this chapter. It is only a short chapter, and I think that is to do with how divisive the ending has been received. I think Oda knew that when he gets to his payoff, his reveal at the end of this chapter, which we will discuss, it was going to get a very mixed reaction. Brave on Oda's part, but I think it's setting up the much broader and bigger picture of things to come. So, without going too much into it, we'll save that for the end. But, without further ado, chapter 1118. Being free. So, we love the topic of freedom in One Piece, you know, everyone's striving for their own version of freedom. And here we have Only Child Yamato, cover story continuing, and they are setting off from the Flower Capital. So, they are on their journey now, their pilgrimage, and let's see what shenanigans that they get up to. So, last we had left off, Walkyrie had just absolutely annihilated the Iron Giant. And the transmission was cut short. Vegapunk was just telling the world, addressing specifically the people who had the D in their name, that among them, and then it was cut short because all of the elders surrounded the giant, and Walkyrie in his giant flaming boar form absolutely annihilated the robot. Now, perspective wise, I know the robot is fairly big, and I know the kaiju levels sizes of the elders is big. What I didn't realise at the time, but clearly where we pick up from here, is how close they were, or how strong Walkyrie might be, how close they were to the shore, because after this collision, the Iron Giant gets sent straight into the nearby water. So we pick up with the Iron Giant plummeting on top of a marine ship. It just crashes, and for scale, like, those ships are like fairly big for our standards, but this giant is just collapsing. Like, its head is bigger than the ship. So it crashes down, hits like loads of them, and begins to sink into the ocean. And it is there that we see the transponder snail, the one that's been transmitting this message around the world, and it is beginning to sink with the robot. And it gets out a final couple of words. While it's breaking up, it says, "And their name was," and then it cuts. So whether the message broke up when Walkyrie hit it and then is trying to carry on the message and then is now completely lost, or this is a continuation of what Vegapunk was trying to say, I think we're still missing a few words, because he was saying among you there is something happened. He said a name, something, and then the transmission cut, and then it's tried to carry on the message here, and their name was something. So among you there is this person, their name was this, but obviously Oda wants to keep that a secret for a little bit longer. But the biggest surprise to me is that the robot is sentient. Yes, we get thoughts from the robot. Simple thought, questioning where Joy Boy is. Joy Boy was just here, and it's saying that, where did you go? You know, I wanted our paths to cross again. This robot holds such memories about Joy Boy and their time together that they wanted to reunite with him. And they were like, how strange, like you were just here. But the aftermath of the, obviously, shockwave from Walkery, he now towers over like the entire shoreline, and all the Marines are freaking out like, what the hell is that creature? This island's like nuts. What is going on? And we just get one page just quickly to a few reactions around the world of the transmission ending. And we just get some different places. We do get Alabaster. We see Koza and a few of the other citizens. And people are like, wait, is that it? Like, you just got cut off? Like, that broadcast that it was happening, was it meant to intentionally cut off there? Or was he telling the truth and someone's just killed him? Like, he did say he committed grave sins. So, would the government really go and kill him? But a few other people pipe up to say, you know, Straw Hat Luffy was just holding him hostage. We heard that this morning, didn't we? So, obviously it's those dastardly pirates. And the two very small boxes at the bottom, we see Whiskey Peaks with Mr. Nine and their child. And obviously people saying, you know, the world government wouldn't kill off their greatest mind, surely. Like, that would be completely silly. But then we see Leo and Rebecca, and Leo's like, so it really was Luffy? Like, oh, that's crazy. And Rebecca's like, come on, like, you know better. But people now questioning the fact of what was this message that Vegapunk was trying to finish. But returning to the Vegapunks, the top of the island, the Labo phase, York, who had declared it was over in the last chapter, is receiving comms from the five elders, and they are asking how many Vegapunks are left. And York is like, right, as of now, other than me, I can still check who is interfacing with Punk records, and there are only two: Lilith and Atlas. So I think this might be confirming that poor Edison didn't pull through after his conversation with Stussy. Sad times. But I still am going along with the practicing theory that way back at the start of Egghead, Shaka said, I'm going to die today. And I think that implies to all the Vegapunks, I think all of them will die. Because there are already two left who are now being hunted down by the five elders. And I think York will maybe get double crossed, but maybe not, because this panel of, we see Mars, Jay Garcia and Walkery, and they are changing now and going, right, we have to hunt down Lilith and Atlas. That's our goal. Lilith is up on the Labo phase. Atlas is at the coast. We need to split up and eliminate them. Apparently, which questions some uses of devil fruits, Punk Records still appears to be working and functioning after the Stella has died. So Prime Vegapunk was eliminated. He is no more. However, punk records in his brain is still working after his death. So how his brain fruit is still going, how the Vegapunks can still interface with it, like what is keeping it going, who knows. But the five elders are of the mind that if that still works, they still have use for York, so we can benefit from it. So if we keep York alive and eliminate the rest of them, then we're the ones who are going to profit from it. So they are cutting out all the loose ends, basically. So we reach the coast first, where the giant pirates are setting sail, and we see Dory, Broggy, and Luffy leap from the shore and are like, oopsie daisy, and like jump onto the Elbaf ship. And we see they made it. They are all there. Everyone's kind of just celebrating for a moment. And Luffy takes in the fact that he's now on a giant ship. And his first question is, where's Usopp? Where's Chopper? Like, come on. Like, they'll love this. Like, why aren't they here? So, that's pretty cool. But we see Sanji and Bonney calls out for Luffy, so they're all on the ship. And what we have seen was Doll absolutely annihilating Oimo, and obviously Bluegrass was annihilating the ships. So what we now see is that Bonney was the one who dealt with them both. They are crouched on the deck of a ship in child forms. Yes, Vice Admiral Doll and Vice Admiral Bluegrass. Why am I saying that so poorly? Are both in child forms, so frustrated, and Bonnie's just sniggering like, you know, you're going to be in real hot waters now for letting me get away, aren't you? It's like, that's pretty poor on you guys. But we see Oimo and Kashi reunion with Luffy, and we can see he's pretty beat up, but, you know, still conscious enough to greet Luffy. And that is where we see Sanji trying to communicate with Nami about where they are. They're setting sail, and Nami's like, we're good to go as well. Thanks to Edison, you know, he's basically extended the clouds. We might need you guys to help us land safely. So what we see is obviously Sanji jumping in as Sanji, being like, Nami, Robin, you know, Lilith, you're my top priority. Wouldn't let anything happen to you. And Frankie's just in the back going, yeah, I'll make sure the ship doesn't get damaged. And Usopp's then like, you're not going to save everyone. So that's pretty cute in this moment. Before Marcus Mars comes dive bombing towards the ship. And it's at this moment it kind of like dawns on them that the five elders aren't stopping. They're going to keep chasing them down. And what we see in this situation is Luffy just goes straight to the kitchen and begins devouring food. We see that the captains had already told them to prepare a bunch of food ready, but he wasn't expecting Luffy to eat it all in one go. And he's like devouring like giant plates worth of food. Meanwhile, Mars is annihilating the ships with like a laser beam breath. And a lot of the Vikings have brought up shields to like block the flames, but it's still too hot. And we see everyone is scattering. The Marines are like, there's another monster, like what's going on? And it's Sanji, Bonney, Atlas, Frankie all like scurrying around while the Vikings are protecting them. They are holding shields up, blocking the attacks. They need to get Kuma and Vegapunk's body somewhere safe. And it is at this moment where Dory and Broggy are like, there's no ignoring these monsters anymore. They will chase us to the end of the world. And Mars is like, not a single one of you is allowed to escape. And then all of a sudden, another earthquake. Everyone begins to freak out. What is appearing as the ships and waves begin to bounce? And we hear Luffy exclaim that he's ready to go. His stomach's full. He feels back to full strength. So as everyone's freaking out, not understanding what is happening, Mars obviously is fully aware, and we see Gear 5 Luffy again in full heartbeat swing, bouncing out, and he talks to Bonney, and she's like, whoa, Nika? And he's like, look, again, I've got no idea who you're talking about, but don't you want to like deal with these guys? Like, let's just blow them away. I know that you can do it, you know. And she's like, well, I can't keep that form for as long as you can. And then Luffy's like, what are you on about? Of course you can. You know, I don't know how your powers work, but like, you've got this. And as Dory and Broggy are dancing away to the festive beat, we get brief flashes that Bonney recalls Luffy saying that's how he looks when he is most free. And she thinks about what Kuma has sacrificed and how he promised to raise Bonney. And it's in those moments where she summons the power and uses a distorted future where she is totally free. And we see Bonney in Gear 5 as well. And I'll put up the page because it is a double spread of both Luffy and Bonney, both in their Nika forms. And the Gorosei are like, something is wrong. We've got to deal with this. Like, Mars is saying it, but like off to the side, like Jupiter, War Curie, St. J. Garcia are all like, something's wrong, we've got to hurry. Because I think Nosturo is still dealing with like Zoro and that up on the Labo. So we've only got 4 of the elders trying to deal with now 2 Sun God Nikas. Very decisive, because not a lot of people are too happy with Bonney getting this form. But if we think about the scale and what is going into this story and how absolutely terrifying the 5 elders alone are, it's not so far out of the realm of possibility that Bonney, who can manipulate like multiversal futures, could be able to summon a timeline, a future where she herself had the Sun God Nika fruit. I mean, that's pretty cool. So it's going to be funny to see them both working together or fighting together in these forms. It's going to be complete chaos. I'm a fan of it. I think it's fine, because just think of how ludicrous this is going to be. There's 5 elders to contend with. Luffy can't do it all by himself. Why not? We do get the final panel as well of the robot hitting the sea floor, it looks like, I think, and being like, there you are. You're still there, Joy Boy. So whether the robot somehow resurfaces, I don't know, but he finally feels Joy Boy's presence again, and there's now 2 warriors of liberation. So whether Bonney is going to be as strong as Luffy or can hold the form as long as Luffy, but she's now in her most free form, and Luffy's just iconically laughing away. So there's no break next week, so I really just want a whole chapter dedicated to these 2 just fighting the 4 elders currently in front of them, because it seems like Jinbei and Zoro are going to have to contend with Nosturo to help the Sunny escape. So it certainly makes it more now viable for everyone else to escape, because these 2 are just absolutely going to run amok. But let me know what you thought of the chapter. This ending especially has been highly spoken about online, so let me know what you think. I will catch you guys next time.